How many of y'all feel like the system was like never built for you? Like you basically you trapped in the game you was born into. You don't even know the rules. You start learning the rules, and then it seemed like the rules change when you about to, get ahead in the game. So we all been victims or know somebody of getting hit with fines, charges, people flexing like they got some type of authority that they really don't have. A lot of times we don't even know what we did wrong. I don't feel like that's really justice. I feel like that's us being controlled. But maybe that's just me. But at the end of the day, none of y'all came here to be a victim. I never wanted to be a victim. I just wanted to figure shit out. And like deep down, I know y'all here because y'all ready to take y'all power back, right? Understand the power that God has given you and how to express it. How many of y'all have been told that you really can't beat the government? You can't beat the police. You can't beat the system. How many told y'all that? You can't beat the IRS. How many of y'all have been told that? Like you just gotta roll over and just take it. That's really a lie, man. The truth is people just like y'all are fighting back, have been fighting back, but it's not by yelling or arguing or being belligerent. It's about understanding their rights. And so for those of y'all who don't know me, my name is Amir Law, and I've helped over 1,200 people, beat these type of, let's just say, traps, that the government sets, court cases, I've trained tens of thousands of people to be able to actually understand the rights that God has given them and how to express it so that they can reclaim what's theirs, essentially take their power back. And the best thing about all of this is none of this is theory, even though they would like to say it is, but none of this is theory. It's just lawful strategy. It's just understanding jurisdiction. Let me ask y'all something. How many of y'all are here to just listen? And then how many of y'all are here to actually, gain something, learn something, and transform, start to transform? Because the reality is, if you're here to listen and you take notes, and then the notes that you take, you speak it out loud. Go over the notes and you speak it out loud. That's how you actually retain 90% of the information. That's how you set yourself apart. So if you're the one that's here ready to actually engage and speak the notes so that you can retain 90% of the information, I'm about to take y'all off mute. I want to hear y'all say it. I'm taking my power back. Say it with me. Say it loud. Like, I'm taking my power back.
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 Taking my power back.
Taking my power back.
I'm taking my power back.
Taking my power back and getting all my money.
I
want all my funds back.
I'm taking my power back.
I want all my funds back.
Yeah. I heard that. And happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there tapped in today, all right? Y'all day and y'all decided to spend a little bit of that time with me. I appreciate that. Now, Trump is, messing with the birthright citizenship and the 14th Amendment. Well, the 14th Amendment is more so the problem here because people who think they're U.S. citizens they're public U.S. citizens, and that means that they're a district citizen, and a district citizen is a citizen of the District of Columbia, which isn't a state. It's that citizenship is attached to the 14th Amendment. So if he does away with that, then what does that mean for your citizenship? Trump is doing whatever he wants to do. Now, it's a lot more that has to happen to get rid of the 14th Amendment at this point. But point is, I come from a place where we like to dot our I's and cross our T's. So we stay prepared. So let's talk about freedom. But I want to talk about the real kind, not the kind that disappears the moment that you say no to somebody that's considered an authoritative figure, like police or some federal agents, something like that. I'm talking about the kind of freedom you feel when you actually know your rights. Not only know your rights, but know how to use them, how to express them. Because the truth is, like, most people don't care until they have to at the end of the day. Until their children are taken away from them, or until their house is foreclosed on, their wages are getting garnished, until everything that they ever worked for is just seized, taken away from them, frozen, and there's nobody coming to help. Then they care. I don't want that for y'all. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for your family. I want that for your future. That's why we prepare now. Y'all got to understand, freedom isn't something that you ask for. It's something that you protect and defend. Like the moment you start asking for it and you waiting for permission, you're already giving it away. If freedom is something that you really want to experience, then today is the day where you really need to start defending it. I want you to understand, my purpose for this experience is to basically wake you up to the truth. Like the only real lawful and true path to claim everything that you're entitled to claim, to even touch that money that's connected to the birth certificate, to claim everything that you're entitled to, not just legally, but spiritually, it's through the jurisdiction of exclusive equity. Like equity doesn't just give you a remedy; it actually restores your rightful position within trust. It sees what the law can't see. That's how it came about. Common law was too harsh. Common law, it started to be, there's no remedy for certain things. Common law couldn't cover it. That's why exclusive equity came about. How many of y'all want everything that you're entitled to? Like not just a piece of it, not just a piece of the pie, but the whole thing. Because that's what exclusive equity is about. Like full control, full power, like everything in total. And like I don't just talk about it. I've spent 8 years mastering this field. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start from the beginning. I want y'all to pull out your ID, pull out your license, your birth certificate, one of those instruments, so I can explain to you what they've been hiding in plain sight, right in front of your face. Pull out your ID, license, birth certificate. Now, that name is in all capital letters, right? On one of those instruments. Passport, you can pull that out. That name is in all capital letters on that instrument, right? Now, y'all know that's the straw man. I'm just going to get straight to it. That's straw man. Y'all heard of straw man? That's not a theory. That's real. That's real in the field. I'm about to prove it to y'all. And then I'm about to prove it, and I'm gonna let y'all research it. All right. So that's not you. That's your straw man. That's the version of you that the system created. That's a shell of you. That's the true U.S. citizen that they can tax, track, they can fine you, control you, lock you up. But you are really a private citizen. Like, you're not a product. You're not a government property. You are God's living, breathing, flesh and blood soul. A private citizen in this world. And the difference between those two identities is essentially, freedom and ownership versus being controlled. They built a system to make you, or our ancestors, forget who they are. And then that has been passed down through generations. But God always succeeds. God always prevails. And so I'm one of the people that are here to help you remember who you are and that you've been free this whole time. The system just hopes you never find out. But again, God always prevails. And you'll find out that exclusive equity always prevails because exclusive equity is God's law. Does that make sense to y'all? Now, I want y'all to check out this video right here. This is a legend, Jake Ehrlich. This is how you spell his name. Y'all can look him up. He was a legend. This is from the 1930s is when he was in his prime. All right? He practiced basically almost 100 years ago. Represented plenty of Hollywood celebrities. The slogan was never plead guilty. I want you to pay close attention to what he's saying about the birth certificate here. All right? Pay attention to what he's saying about the birth certificate. He don't look like me, and he's an attorney, and this is what he's saying about a birth certificate.
When you are defending somebody, you say the first thing that you tell them is never plead guilty.
Never plead guilty. Every man's entitled to a trial. He's presumed to be innocent until the contrary is proved, to a moral certainty beyond a reasonable doubt. And that's his right under the law, and he ought to avail himself of that right.
So never
plead guilty. Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
What is your name? What is your name?
I refuse to answer. No, my name is Johnny Carson.
How do you know that to be your name?
Well, it's on a birth certificate, legally recorded.
That's hearsay.
That's hearsay?
Of course.
I mean, if it's legally recorded,
that's still hearsay. Suppose you were born, and I must assume that you were born because you're here tonight with us. There's a certificate made out not by you, certificate made out by somebody else. That a boy child was born to Mr. and Mrs. Carson, and that he is named Johnny. That doesn't mean that you know that to be the fact. That means you have read that to be the fact.
Yeah, I see what you mean. In other words, I only have to go by what is recorded.
You're pleading guilty to something that you don't know of your own knowledge.
You understand that Jake Ehrlich is saying that? How many of y'all understand what he say, she say stuff is? How many of y'all understand what that is? Hearsay. You don't know. You think that name on the birth certificate is you, but you don't know who created that. You don't know where it came from. You don't know the benefits, consequences, privileges. Like, you don't know anything about that. You've just been told that's you. That's it. That's it. Think about that. If you understand the system, everything that happens in the system get charges to the strong man, but that ain't really you, but you think it is. Imagine what would happen if you understood that ain't you and knew what to do about it. The core of your problems in life come from you thinking that you are simply a U.S. citizen, that name on the birth certificate. That's the core of your problems.
You,
And if that was true, listen, here is a petition submitted to court. A private citizen versus the all cap name. Who we say the all cap name is? A straw man, right? We said all cap name is a straw man. And we said that's the public U.S. citizen. So this is a private civilian versus the public U.S. citizen. And this is a petition in court. So now, help me understand. If that was just a theory, then how do we have a court order with judges, 3 judges, might I add, agreeing and okaying the correction from the all cap name to the proper styling, from the public U.S. citizen, from the birth certificate name to a private name? So if it was just a theory, how do we have this fact right here? How do we have this record right here from the courts? Someone please help me understand this. This is more than just a name change or name correction. This is proof that we've been lied to about our legal identity in the system our entire lives. Do y'all understand that? This is proof that straw man is not a theory, it's a fact. It's the truth. Like, if there was only one type of citizen, how do we have this court order? And it's not just me, right? It's not just I have that just one. We have plenty of them. This is just, I've just showed y'all 4 of them. There's plenty of other people in the community that has gotten it. People are probably completing these every day, every other day, in many different states. Think about that. Those are all people just like you who realized something was off, someone working, and they just took their freedom back. Why isn't that on the schools, in the schools, on the news, or any of that? I think it's because the system only works if us, stay in the dark. And then if you never ask anything, if you never challenge anything, then you're going to live your entire life thinking you're free, thinking you're getting benefits when really you've just been compliant and you have access to privileges. You want benefits, not privileges. But now you know. And now that you know, you got a choice to make. Now, what's the first thing people do when they get into legal trouble? Yep. Jonathan said, call a liar. That's funny. That's exactly right. A liar, aka a lawyer. But that's because that's what we've been trained to do. Here's the truth. Lawyers are really here to manage you, to keep you inside the system, keep you compliant. Like, it was never, like, the system was never built to protect you, really, only to, as a U.S. citizen, right? Only to process you as property. If this system actually worked for you, then why do so many people actually lose, even when they're right? Even when they did everything right? Why do lawyers tell you what you can't do versus telling you what's possible? It's because they're not fighting with you against the system. They're a part of it. And this entire system runs on your silence, your fear, your you basically being compliant, obedient. But the moment you remember who you are, understand the power that God has given you and what you're entitled to as a child of God or as a private citizen, as a living, breathing, flesh and blood, soul, right? Everything changes. And that shift should start today, right now. Not tomorrow, not next week when things, get worse, like right here, right now, today. Today, you can stop being controlled and take your power back. That's what I want you to understand. But listen, I talk a lot of stuff, right? But I don't want you to just take my word for it. It's actually right here in their own legal books. This is their legal books. So this is really a cheat code. Corpus juris secundum. Attorney-client, section 2 through 7. Screenshot this, research this. This is your homework. Look this up. This is a cheat code. This their legal book. So you can read this and understand how they're going to move against you. So that way you can prepare. Does that make sense? But it don't really stop there. Like, this law, it gets deeper, but deeper into your bank account, your wallets. I want you to understand every loan that you ever signed you're not getting full disclosure on that. Like, most people have no idea how banking really works. And obviously that's by design. Like, they told us banks lend money like the banks are doing us a favor, right? That's what we've been taught this entire time, right? Now, what if I told you every loan that you ever took was a lie? Let's break this down. Let's act like it's just me and one of y'all, just me and you, right? And we just on the streets, we friends or whatever. It's just me and you. Now listen, if I asked you to borrow $10,000, what's the first thing that you would want from me? Collateral, contract, agreement, something in writing. And why do y'all want all that? Y'all want all that so that you feel secure, so that you feel protected. You know what I mean? Basically knowing that you're gonna be able to get your money back, even if I don't pay you back, right? That's you want some type of security to know that you're gonna be able to get your money back, even if I don't pay you back. So now and that's collateral. And collateral, you can go sell the contract. You can go, if it's collateral, you can go sell, go pawn, if it's something solid, you know what I mean? Like, basically, you can liquidate it and get your money back. Now, let's flip that. When the bank's loan you money, it's not like they go back to the vault and stuff a bag full of cash and give it to you. It's you. It's you. Your signature becomes the money. Like, your promise creates the loan. Your energy makes them profit. So think about that. You're giving them value through your signature and your energy. Then somehow you're still a debtor. They call you a debtor. They call you a debtor. You gave them value. They gave you debt. How's that work? Tell me, how's that work? I don't know about y'all, but That don't sound like no loan. That sound like some finessing. I'm gonna explain to y'all exactly how credit and banking works. This is an excerpt from Henry Macleod. He's a master of economics and a master of credit from the 1700s. This is from his book, A Theory of Credit. Y'all want me to break this down in layman's terms, or y'all want me to read it, you know what I mean, just explain it? All right, I'm gonna break it down in layman's terms. Follow my arrow. It's gonna help you raise your vocabulary too. Oh, first I gotta know, so how many of y'all do not know what a promissory note is? If you don't understand what a promissory note is, drop a no in the chat. All right, we got a few notes, so let me explain. All right, so you know when you go buy a car or a house or whatever, and there's a contract that says how much your finance charge is, that says how much you got to pay a month, that says, what else was on there? Well, basically that contract. Y'all know what I'm talking about now? That's a promissory note. That's an installment agreement, or basically, essentially just a contract. Or when you got student loans and you had to sign a master promissory note, which is basically an agreement and everything. We all on the same page now? For those of you who said no, we all on the same page? You understand what a promissory note is? It's the contract that you agree, that you sign, that says you're going to pay them back and how frequently and how much and what extra charges come with it. Yes, it's the note. All right. Yes, the paperwork. All right, bet. Now, I'm going to read this so that you understand how banking and credit works, all right? And remember, this is from a master of economics and credit from the 1700s, and ain't nothing changed. The general rule of English law is now that if any promissory note be taken in exchange for a house or a car or a loan in any transaction, then that transaction is done after you give them the promissory note. And the bank has no remedy against a private citizen if the promissory note is not paid. The promissory note, when paid to the bank, is in fact, in all respects, as valid and done as if the promissory note was money. So essentially, y'all get that? It's basically saying, break it down even more. It's basically saying, when you sign that promissory note, and that promissory note says you owe, let's just say promissory note says you owe $100,000, and you're gonna pay, $1,000 every month. When you sign that promissory note, that's like giving the bank $100,000 in cash. So once you give them that promissory note and you don't pay the bank back, they don't have any recourse from you. Yes, exactly. It's paid in full. It's paid in full once you sign a promissory note and you give it to them. That's exactly what he's saying. Yes. When you sign a promissory note, that's private credit. Y'all ever heard me say private credit? That's private credit. They convert it to public credit. Now, here's another hard truth that most people never really hear. Nobody tells, nobody talks about. Not all of the Constitution applies to a U.S. citizen. All right, I'm going to go back real quick. Usually I don't do this, but I'm going to go back real quick. I'm going to break it down to you like this. A promissory note equals gold. All right, you understand that? A promissory note equals gold. So imagine you go to the bank and say, "Hey, I'm gonna give you 10 ounces of gold. I want to buy. I want to get this Mercedes Benz." Then the bank takes your gold, gives you the Mercedes Benz, and then says, "Hey, I need you to pay me $1,000 every month until this $100,000 Mercedes is paid off." When you think about that, you just gave them gold for the Mercedes Benz. Then you go and pay them again? That's what I'm explaining to you. Exactly, double dipping. You're paying them twice. Now, like I was saying, not all the Constitution applies to U.S. citizens. Like I know we're taught it does. Like you're told you got rights under the Constitution, but like the protection from the Constitution doesn't apply the way you think it is. And I'm gonna break it down to you real quick. So the Constitution, the real one, the written one, that's for private citizens, not the district citizens. Have y'all ever heard of district citizens? District citizens are straw mans. District citizens is a straw man. The government created strongman U.S. citizens. Those are the district citizens. And if you've been identifying as the strongman, aka a district citizen, aka a U.S. citizen, your entire life, then you've been playing by the rules that were never written to protect you. I want you to think of the Constitution like the game of Uno. How many of y'all play Uno? Now you know when you play Uno, they got the instructions on the back of the box, or they might have the instructions on, like the white piece of paper on the inside. That tell you how to play the game, right? That's the original rules of the game. You understand that. You've been playing that way. You've been doing your thing, But now when you go to your friend's house, what your friends say? Nah, this is how we play. We got these are house rules. They didn't drop 2 skips. They didn't drop like 5 reverses on you. You put down a draw 2. Somehow it get back to you. Now you drawing 16. They call that waterfalls. You ain't never heard. You look on the back of the box, look on the paper. You trying to find that in the original rules, and you can't find that. How many of y'all go over to your friend's house and they got house rules? They change up the rules on you. Well, that's exactly what happened in law. The Constitution, that's the original rules for the game. But that's meant for private citizens. But over time, the government, they created their own rules, the house rules. The house rules, that's the statutes and codes. Those statutes and codes, they apply to the U.S. citizen, a.k.a. the district citizen, as we know it, the straw man. Is that making sense? Y'all picking up what I'm putting down here? And I know they don't tell you this because they just assume you'll accept it, and you have been. Like, if you think that you're a U.S. citizen, then you are bound by the house rules. But if you remember who you are and stand in that truth as a private citizen, then that's the difference between you being governed and you being free. That's the difference between you experiencing a hell on earth versus you experiencing a heaven on earth. If you stand in your truth as a private citizen, then you operate under the original law of the land, the Constitution. But again, I don't want y'all to just take my word for it. I never want y'all to just take my word for it. Screenshot this. Check out this case. So I want to explain something to y'all. This is going to help you understand it. Now, I know I showed y'all the petition and everything, right? But you got to understand something else. Once you understand that you're a private citizen, right? We all at that point now, right? We all understand that we're a private citizen. We're not the strong man U.S. citizen, right? So then you got to understand, okay, not all courts recognize your private rights. I like to give a simple analogy, man. Here's what has happened. This is the Constitution. This is private citizens, right? My fist right here. This is the original shit. The government created a shell and put it on top. So now you live your entire life in the shell. You need to get back to the original shit. Does that make sense? It's just that simple. You're living your life in the shell, in the fake world. In this fake world, they got fake courts. And these courts don't recognize your private rights. Like, if you ever been in court or been in a situation where you just feel like they're not hearing you, it's because the system, the shell of the system, it wasn't designed to. Most people are fighting in the wrong courts. They're fighting in military courts, which are the administrative, the statutory courts, the district courts that treat you like property, not like a person, a private person with private rights. But I'll give you the secret where you can, where they do respect your private rights. I'm gonna give you a secret. I want y'all to write this down. The higher courts, high vibrations, higher energy, good shit happens, right? That's the appeals court. That's the circuit court. That's the Supreme Court. Those are the higher courts where you should be moving your court cases to, that you should be operating in, because they recognize your private rights. And to further prove to you that there's a difference between a public citizen, a private citizen, public rights, private rights, that the founders of this nation, of this Constitution, that you're a hard line between public and private rights. Public rights for the U.S. citizen and private rights for the people who actually know who they are. This is the court case. Look this up. Make sure that you specifically read Justice Thomas, his opinion. Write that down. Justice Thomas. You got to read his opinion. And he's a real judge, not an administrative judge. He's a real Article 3 judge under the Constitution. Let me ask y'all something. How many of y'all are not in the military? None of y'all. All right, so everybody's saying me, y'all not in the military, right? All right. So if you're not in the military, then why are you standing in the court that treats you like you are? You gotta understand, life, liberty, and property, those are your private rights. And if you're in the military court, but you're not in the military, then they are violating your core private rights. You basically gonna keep losing even before the fight even begins. Like, if you want to be able to change that narrative, you gotta understand who you are. It's just that simple, man. Now let me ask y'all this: what's the first thing people do when they get a summons in the mail, they get a court summons in the mail. What's the first thing that they do? Yep. They start panicking. Start answering. Yep. Googling. Yep. Put it in the drawer. Yep. All that. Start filing motions, calling the lawyer, all the wrong shit. That's the trap. The moment you do any of that, you accept their jurisdiction. And once you accept their jurisdiction, you accept being the straw man. And once you accept being the straw man, aka a U.S. citizen, then you're okay with being called a thug, a criminal, a felon, a second-class citizen. How many of y'all thugs on here? How many of y'all are criminals on here? How many of y'all are second-class citizens? Because every time that you say that you're a U.S. citizen, that's what you're saying. Every time you agree to be in their jurisdiction, that's what you're saying. Every time you walk into court, not knowing who you are, not knowing how to express your rights, that's what you're saying. Before you even open your mouth. That's why the real power move happens. Like it's the first thing that you should do as soon as you get a court summons. It's called an abatement, and as y'all can see, it's the first thing on the order in which your defenses must be expressed. This is where you get to say, hey, I'm not that strong man. I'm not a thug. I'm not a criminal. I'm not in your jurisdiction. I am a private citizen. These are my rights. I demand civilian due process. Does that make sense? Yeah, I'm private. So this is a special appearance. Exactly, all that. That's why we do an abatement first. It's important that you understand this so that next time they come for you, you're not reacting with fear and panicking and stuff. You actually respond with power because you understand who you are and what to express. And let me tell y'all about one of the most, it's one of the best wins that I've ever seen. So one of the people from our community she was a travel nurse. She was pulled over in Wisconsin. She received, basically she caught a case in Wisconsin and she had a warrant in Texas that she did not know about. How many of y'all have been in a situation where a warrant popped up in a whole different state or something like that and you ain't know about it? Or you know somebody that happened to? Like she was arrested on all that, facing extradition. Now here's what happens. Sometimes when you're in court, you can get a hold to the iPad, phones, and stuff like that. So somebody she knew that was locked up with her was able to help her get my ebook, Abatements Before Motions. You can go find that in the digital store right now. And so long story short, while she was in jail, she read my book and she had already been studying and everything. She ain't had nothing pressing or nothing. But the point is, she been studying. Then when she was in jail, she got my ebook, read it, and she created her own abatement based off the information from my ebook. She had 2 court hearings. Boom. Case was dismissed. The extradition was blocked. Case dismissed. Dismissed. Abatement. Now, let's break this all the way down. Exclusive equity is how you actually control your life. control your assets, your property, control your identity. And I want you to understand that, like, your freedom isn't just about rights. It's about ownership. Ownership in your rights. All right? Ownership in your rights. And that's the truth that they don't really teach you. Furthermore, everything that you own right now, you don't really own. Everything is held in a trust, like your house, your car, like your God-given rights. It's all held in a trust. And it's governed by exclusive equity. That's the court, a court of equity that you should be in. That's the language, that's the jurisdiction where your true power and wealth lies. Does that make sense to y'all? Y'all understand that? I want y'all to understand, like, how should I put it? Exclusive equity is the missing piece to everybody's studies. All the freedom fighters, right? No matter what lane they're in exactly. It's the missing piece. Because that's the piece that actually governs your rights, your freedoms, your wealth. But you don't accidentally get into that jurisdiction. You only access that if you understand who you are as a child of God and how to express your God-given power. Don't think of this like, it's not just paperwork. It's your authority. It's your protection. It's your path to freedom, eternal freedoms through your lineage. "19 criminal cases have been destroyed." I want you to understand something. All crimes are commercial. You understand that? All crimes are commercial. Which means it's a business transaction. And once you understand exclusive equity, you can expunge your records. This guy, 19 criminal cases expunged. Then let me tell you about this real quick. One of the people in our community, her son, was about to get a warrant issued for him, but they had already submitted a court warrant to be ahead of the game. And so that warrant never got issued. And it didn't get issued because they didn't have any standing. They didn't have a case, they didn't have no warrant, they didn't have no jurisdiction. And if they continue to move on, that could be costly for them. But here's the best part about this situation, especially us as parents. That same kid was at a beach party and a fight broke out, or multiple fights broke out. Everybody went to jail except for him. They ran his information and called his parents. You think that's coincidence? Once you understand who you are, you properly challenge jurisdiction, then the system, the government, like these entities know they have no authority over them. And if you don't know how to invoke these principles, essentially you're volunteering into their system, into their jurisdiction. Now, let me explain something to y'all that completely just flip the script on how you see debts, payments, judgments, court restitution, and all that. You know, and essentially who you really are in the system. It's called suretyship. And once you understand it, you're never going to look at any type of bill or loan, any of that the same way again. So here's what they don't teach you. You're not the debtor. You're not, and the debtor is the straw man. All right, so you're not the straw man debtor. Now, you are being implied as a surety for that straw man, which means you're being implied as insurance, as a co-signer. Does that make sense? As a guarantor. Essentially, that makes you secondarily responsible. But that basically it makes you responsible for debts that don't truly legally belong to you. Think about it. Every rent payment, every tax bill payment, every credit card swipe, like you essentially been paying on behalf of the straw man. Not you. Imagine this: you pay off a $10,000 debt for the straw man, and then weeks later you get a $10,000 check back in the mail. Imagine that. You paid off a $10,000 debt for the straw man, then a few weeks later you get a $10,000 debt back in the mail. I mean, a $10,000 check back in the mail. How? You like it? Yeah. Let me explain something to you. That's called equitable subrogation. Somebody drop that in the chat. Equitable subrogation. That's a principle of suretyship. Equitable subrogation. Equity subrogation. That's God's subrogation. That's God's law, God's authority. God said you have the right to be reimbursed when you pay on behalf of someone else. So now let me ask you, are you going to keep paying off debt for a straw man that ain't you without being reimbursed? Or are you going to understand your position in this and take your power back in the system? Because once you know who you really are, that's when everything changes. But again, I don't want y'all to just believe me. I never want y'all to just believe me. I want y'all to check stuff out. So this is another court case that you can check out. This is the Hans case. They went up against the big bad Uncle Sam. This was over a house, too. Uncle Sam had to cash them out. They expressed equitable subrogation, a principle of suretyship, what we just got done talking about. So it ain't just me talking about it. They did it. And look what court they did it in, too. Appeals court. Didn't I say that was a higher court? Higher court that actually could see your private rights? Equitable subrogation, that's private. Check out this case. Because again, you ain't got to believe me. Look at that for yourself. Now, here's another testimony. This is somebody who's been tapped on me. They tendered a special deposit and expressed suretyship. So what they did was, can't really get deep into it right now. They tendered a special deposit, a money order, $21. They expressed suretyship. This account got credited over $800. This is a utility company. Stewardship definitely works for child support. But this is a utility company in Los Angeles, California. Here's the evidence and everything. How many of y'all would like to be able to save money on, from getting garnished, right? From lawyer fees, any type of fees. This person saved $50,000. Nate saved $50,000 in fees by being tapped in with me, by understanding who he is and understanding the principles of exclusive equity. How many of y'all would like to be able to do the same thing? Now, let's be honest. Let's keep it all the way real. I get it. Legalese, I know because I've been there. Legalese is not built to help you. That's not why I was not. It's actually built to confuse you. Now, tell me if I'm wrong on this. You're trying Code 5. Code 5 say, go to Statute 11. Statute 11 say, go cross-reference Code 2. Code 2 say, go to Statute 6.5, and 6.5 say, go back to Code 5. Now you didn't ran in circles, right? You forgot what you was even looking for. You confused. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me that ain't how it goes. Got you running in circles and you forgot. I done been there. You ain't no closer to the truth, to a remedy. Nothing. That's not an accident. That's by design. Confusion is what keeps, the government in power and keeps you in the dark. But when you start studying exclusive equity, there's only 20 equity maxims, timeless maxims, principles that's simple and clear, that's based in truth and fairness. Let me explain something to you why I educate you in principles. Principles apply to everybody on this land. Everybody. At any given time. And they do not expire. They will never expire. They're forever. It's natural principles. Natural law. Does that make sense? Like, that ain't no loopholes. That's real energy. That makes sense to y'all? Now, how many of y'all feel like this shit is risky? Let's just keep it all the way real. No, we don't use UCC. Is UCC a code? Last time I checked, UCC is a code. And what I say about a code? Now, so y'all feel like it's risky? Hey, listen. I get it. Y'all feel like this is risky? Yeah, some people say yeah. I get it. My thing is, what's really riskier? You going into court and not knowing who you are, ready to get railroaded? Or is it more risky to, learn your God-given power, have faith in God? You have faith in God in every other aspect of your life, but when it comes to health, and when it comes, listen, that's crazy. In every aspect of your life, you believe in God except for the three things that matter: health, wealth, and law. When it comes to that shit, you lack faith. Imagine that. It's easy to have faith when shit is going well. When you understand, when you feel like you understand things fully. But that's not really faith. Faith is when you met with adversity and now you gotta navigate that shit. So what's more risky? Now let me ask you this. Are you willing to invest in your own protection? Are you willing to make your freedoms, a priority? Like, how many of y'all are truly committed is what I want to know. To, like, truly committed to actually knowing your rights, to actually understanding exclusive equity. The truth is, it's not just about studying law. This is about mastering your life. And I'm going to give you the same strategy that I started with and still use this to today. And this is a bare minimum, all right? This is the bare minimum. This is where we draw the line. The strategy is 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes at night, studying 5 days a week. That's it. That way you don't get overwhelmed, you don't get burnt out. But then the beauty of it is all those small sessions, they'll add up to where, by the end of the year, you probably have a couple hundred hours under your belt, man. That's an investment into your freedoms without even feeling the weight of it, right? That's how you master your rights. That's how you know who you are. That's how you walk into a courtroom and stand on business. Because let's keep it all the way real. Ain't nobody coming to save you. Nobody. And if somebody is coming to save you, it's going to cost you a lot. But once you commit to actually doing the work, 30 minutes a day, 15 minutes in the morning, like once you commit to doing the work and you expressing yourself, like you'll realize you never needed anybody to come save you. In fact, I would say Jesus had already came and saved us. You just don't understand what he did. You don't understand, and that's the issue. But we get into that. That's why you're here today. My main question is, are you ready to invest 30 minutes a day so that you never feel like you are powerless again? That's what this really is, an investment in your freedom. And another thing is, like when I started this, my family didn't understand what I was learning. They didn't. They didn't get it. And it's not because they didn't care, but they just didn't understand. Like, they human. But that was fine because I understood that this was my journey, not theirs. And the beauty about this is the moment I won my first court case, my first warrant, everything changed for me. I went from believing to knowing. And then once you know, you can never go back. And then since then, my family has been able to see what it's done for me, done for my child, what it's done for tens of thousands of people across this entire nation. And of course, now they on board. Now they studying. They you know what I mean? Like, that's what it's about. But I never forced them or anything because it's my journey. I'm the black sheep in the family. Same way y'all the black sheep in the family, right? So worry about your journey as a black sheep. I know you want your family to understand what you're doing and you're trying to protect them and everything, right? Worry about your journey. Save yourself. And the rest shall come. Most people don't believe they have rights, but, most people do believe that they have rights, but do they know how to use them? Do they know that they have them? Do they know how to use them? That's the real question. Does that make sense? Because when you understand, once you understand exclusive equity, like, you stop fighting on their terms in their jurisdiction. You stop necessarily playing defense and it's more of taking control. And the beauty is that it works for everything: traffic tickets, criminal charges, debt, family court divorces, like you name it, pretty much works for it. And that's simply because exclusive equity isn't about complicated laws, statutes, and codes and all that. It's simply about principles, about the truth, and about shit being fair. It's about owning your life again. It's about protecting your family, your property, your freedoms, like your name, identity, right? And some people in this for money, and some people, It's a part of it. And I get that, but it's not just about the money. It's about the freedom, the purpose, the control. That's the main things. How many of y'all are actually ready to experience what true freedom is like? How many of y'all are ready to live free? Or whoever ain't saying me, I'm assuming you ready, you just gonna keep doing the same thing. Like you gonna keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. If you ain't saying me, that's what I'm assuming, and that's what most people do. So I get it. Like they just sitting around, they waiting, scrolling, you know what I mean, on social media, saying I'm gonna get to it. But somebody please tell me, when's the last time that time actually waited for somebody? When does Father Time wait for somebody? When does the government wait for people? Please tell me when's the last time that happened. Because I ain't never seen that happen in all my years. Like, that's the equivalent. See, people do this shit too. And I know because I've done it. Yeah. This is equivalent to, like, how many of y'all ever been chilling, watching TV, you get hungry, so you go to the kitchen, open up the refrigerator, and you're looking for food, right? That's normal. Everybody doing that, right? What else you gonna do? That's the first thing you do. Look in the refrigerator, you don't see nothing, no. You don't see nothing. So then you close it, you go sit on the couch, you watch another episode, and your stomach get the growling and shit, right? What do? You go back to the kitchen, same fridge, get to moving shit around, looking in your fridge, looking for something. As if something new is gonna magically appear, right? Get to moving stuff from the left side to the right side. Then you go sit back down on the couch, watch another episode of your TV show. Now your stomach is basically ready to fight you. You're starving. It's turning inside out. You go back to the same refrigerator, the same shit that you moved from the left side to the right side. You moving from the right side back to the left side. You looking on all the shelves and you acting like something's magically gonna appear in this refrigerator, even though you ain't did shit. You done the same thing for the past 30 minutes. You ain't order no food. You ain't go to the grocery store. You ain't DoorDash. You ain't did nothing. But somehow you expect something new to happen. Somebody please tell me what we call that. So look, y'all was already on it. That's the definition of insanity. Exactly. Stupid. Crazy. Insanity. Exactly. But this is the shit that we do. This is the shit that we do every day. So y'all basically, we basically talking about ourselves right now. We basically talking about ourselves right now. And y'all came up with the words. Because this is what it's like when people keep trusting the courts without learning the rules, without learning who they are and the power that they have. That's the cycle. Nothing's going to change until you do. Nothing's going to change until you do. So y'all saying insanity, saying stupid, saying crazy, right? But we explaining us. Because this is what we do. Now pull out your phone. Y'all pull out your phone right now. Now, look at your screen time. Look at your screen time. How many hours have gone to social media? Ask yourself. You ain't got to tell me, right? But just look it up. Now, I'm not the type of person. I know everybody else is out there because they faking it. They not keeping it real. You know, they feel how they feel, right? I'm not the type of person that's gonna be like, oh, you shouldn't be socializing. You shouldn't be going out to the club. You shouldn't be enjoying yourself. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be doing that. I'm not that type of person because I get it. Life be lifing, and I just understand. Well, let me just explain it to you. You see, think about the recreational time that you have. Think about that screen time that you got. Right? Add that up. And just imagine out of all those hours, what if you just took 30 minutes out of that? And I'm willing to bet that majority of y'all spend about, I'll say on average, 6 to 8 hours. 6 to 8 hours minimum. Probably a day. Somewhere around there. So imagine if you took 30 minutes just learning how to protect yourself. Truth is, most people just don't know their rights. But the ones who do, they're not the ones living in fear. They're the ones that's controlling their life, living a heaven on earth. How long can you afford to keep living life like a blind person? How long can you continue to go up against the government unprepared? How long can you afford to feel like, well, it's not gonna happen to you, or when the time comes you'll be ready without doing shit? Like, are you finally ready to break this cycle? Or are you gonna be that guy? Are you gonna be that person that goes and checks the refrigerator again? Which one you gonna be? I'm gonna know my rights. I'm ready to be free. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. This system definitely, like I said, likes to keep you in the dark so that you don't know who you are and make you feel like you're the one that's liable. Basically holding you liable for things that's not you, right? To me, like, this country is really supposed to stand for freedom around the world, but I don't feel like that's not real freedom. That's the system, that's the government controlling us quietly. Like, that's silent slavery. Or am I just tripping? But what really happens when you wake up, though? And you know who you are and your power? What happens when you start standing in equity? You stop asking for your freedoms. You start standing and protecting and defending your freedoms. You stop hoping someone is coming to save you, and you start moving like you're saving yourself with the power that God gave you, not with fear that the government tries to instill in you. Does that make sense? Now, working with me is super intense, y'all. How many of y'all would love to work with me? Now, I'm going to tell you, not everybody can work with me because I'm not for everybody. It's super intense work. I cuss a lot. I'm very passionate. I believe in iron sharpen iron, so I don't mind it just being intense. I don't mind it. I don't work with everybody. I only want to work with people that's committed, people that's focused. I only want to work with people that's tired of pretending like they free, pretending like they know their rights when they don't really know shit. No pretenders. People who's ready to actually be free. If you're actually ready to be free and work with me, then all right. It's been a good minute. This class has kind of been intense. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna inhale, then exhale on three. On three. 1, 2, 3. Inhale. Exhale. All right. Release some of that tension, that stress. Listen, it gets more tense than it was today. Way more tense, all right? Way more tense. But, you know, if you're ready to work with me and ready to take your power back, I want to hear you say it. I want you to tap yourself on the chest and say, I'm ready to take my power back.
I'm ready to take
I'm
my
ready
power
to take
back.
my power back.
Ready to
I'm
take my
ready to take my power back.
Ready to
Ready to take my power back.
ready to take my power back.
Take my power back.
I'm ready to take my power back.
Credit agencies.
I'm ready to take my power back.
Take my power back.
Take my power back.
Ready to take my power back.
To be clear, man. I know a lot of people do things out there, charge you $50, $100 and stuff like that. This ain't that shit. Now tell me if I'm wrong. People charge you $50, $100 for a process, for templates, right? Maybe come with a video sometimes, right? This ain't that. This is an actual investment in your freedom, in your family's future and freedom. Like, this is an investment in breaking the cycle of government control and generational curses. Like, I get it. The people out there they charging $50 for a template, maybe a video, right? For a piece of paper, a digital asset. But no context, no support, no strategy, and there's no transformation with it. That's not what this is. This isn't just paperwork or something like that. This is true power. This is about learning your rights, knowing how to use them, and making sure that no government agency, no court, nobody in this system can ever take advantage of you ever again. Because that's what's been happening your entire life. But once you understand it, once it clicks, nobody can take this away from you. That's the best part about this. Not no judge, not no officer, not no governor, not Uncle Sam. No, this is the type of knowledge that lives in you forever. Forever. It becomes a part of you. It protects everything around you. So you got to ask yourself, are you just looking to buy more information, or are you actually investing in your freedom? Because this is where everything changes. And you get to be around, I know you're the black sheep in your family. The beauty about our community is it's a community of black sheep. Right now, you don't have anybody to talk to in your family. You don't have nobody else around you to talk to. You don't understand, nobody else understands this information. Nowhere near. You talking about protecting your rights. Everybody else is talking about eating peanut butter jelly sandwiches, bologna sandwiches, going 50-50 on relationships and all type of other stuff, right? They nowhere near this. This is why I create the community for the black sheep, people who think similar, who's ready to take action and fight, against the system, defend their freedoms. All right. That's why everything changes today. Because I've been where you've been. That's why I know you're the black sheep. You ain't got nobody to talk about. My family did not understand what I was talking about, as I just told you. But that's also why I created, this experience that allows you to step back into your power and remember who you are. Essentially allows you to understand the foundation that you need for your freedoms. And this is called the Master Your Rights 3-Day Challenge. So we're going to hop on Zoom, right? Imagine spending 3 days with me, 2 hours a day on Zoom. Imagine that. Well, I'm going to help you understand how to go about reclaiming your rightful identity. Basically, how to go about becoming a private citizen. Like, I'm gonna help you shorten your learning curve, help you shorten the trials and errors that you'll have. So it's like there's way less guessing, like way less hoping, so that you know what you're doing, not believing, not hoping and guessing. None of that. I want you to go from hoping, guessing, believing to fucking knowing your rights. That when you tap in with me, that is my goal from day one. Like, I don't want you to continue handing over your God-given power to a system that doesn't serve you, respect you. So this is your invitation to actually tap in with me, tap in with the rest of the black sheeps, all right? Now, grab your pen, grab your piece of paper, because I want you to write this down. This is very important. Or open up your notes application on your laptop or whatever. You gotta write this down. This is important. May 19th is when we're starting. May 19th. And it's May 11th. So basically a week. So this is why it's important that, we all adults on here, and I get it. We're all smart enough to make great decisions. So I'm trusting you to do what you need to do, no matter what that looks like for yourself. All right? Now, May 19th is when we start. 7 p.m. Eastern sharp. Right after that, we're going to do a Q&A, all right? But I'll get to that in a minute. Now, if you're a platinum ticket holder, day one, this is where we're going to start to go over how you became a district citizen, why you should be a private citizen, explain how to separate yourself, how to go about becoming a private citizen. This is that you have to show up to day one. If you don't show up to day one, then nothing else matters. This is how you separate yourself from the straw man. Start to understand how to do that the proper way. A lot of people out there just say, "Oh, I'm not the straw man. I'm not the corporate fiction." Blah blah blah. Listen, yeah, all that you can go find out on the internet. It's important that you start to understand why and start to become more competent. All right. Day two. This is where we start to talk about essentially how to remove yourself from those garnishments, from those liens, from those court restitutions, from those judgments, monetary judgments, how to discharge debt, how to reposition yourself from being a surety, insurance, a cosigner, to actually being a beneficiary. That's what we're going to be talking about. Day three, this is where you start to actually understand your legacy, how to protect it, how everything that you know is in trust and should be in your private trust specifically, though, so that you control your ownership to your rights, your wealth, your legacy, your wealth. Is that making sense? Y'all understand the first 3 days? Day three, estates and trust. That's the foundation of your freedoms, understanding these things more and more to a deeper level. Then, again, if you're a platinum ticket holder, then you get 2 extra days with us. Day 4, this is when you understand the next level, how to get a bank account and a passport without a social, meaning you remain private. And sure, you can get a public bank account, but you got to be structured the proper way. But day 4, we'll be talking about private bank accounts, private passports, no socials. Then day 5, we'll start talking about the PMAs, private member association, the private churches. This is where you understand how to reduce your taxes heavily, whether it be business or personal. You could potentially be tax-free or just, reduce your taxes heavily. So that's saving you money too. Now start to understand how the structure works, and how to keep your life private, not just your business, but your life private. Does this make sense? Are we all clear on what's happening for 19th starting on the 19th. We understand each day? Y'all got that written down? George said, yeah, where the link, cuz? I got you. We dropping a link in the chat. It's $6.97. $6.97. This is a today price, not a tomorrow price. Now, while people are signing up, I'm going to explain the main things here that come with your ticket as a platinum ticket holder. You get a 1 hour Q&A session right after class, all right? We're strictly just asking questions about everything that you just learned, or even the previous day. It's questions. We firing off, all right? You get access to a 101 session with one of my equity consultants. Write that down too. Then, here's the big thing that y'all gotta understand. Y'all paying attention? Y'all gotta understand. You can get access, lifetime access to the replays. Plus, there's more bonuses. But if you want access to the replays, you have to book a call with us so we can make sure that we set this up right with you. Because what's been happening is people been taking my replays, just been doing all type of stuff with it, you know what I mean? So we want to make sure we get it to you right. We want to make sure it's secure, make sure you get lifetime access to that. Plus, we want to tell you about the other bonuses as well, too. But I will tell y'all one of the bonuses that come with it. You get a ticket to the in-person event in Philly on May 30th. And I did that because a lot of times, we have these virtual events and we spend, 3 to 5 days together. Everybody hyped. Everybody's ready to execute. Everybody's learning their rights. This is the first time some people heard this information, right? Everybody's excited. But what happens is day by day, you start to lose some of that momentum. You start to forget some of the things that I've said. So that's why we're offering the replays as a bonus, and you get to come in person so that we can continue to learn and we can continue to get shit done. Continue your journey in person, and we get to meet each other so you can see I'm the same person. In person, I'm the same guy, feel my energy and everything. Like, we just get to meet each other so that you become a familiar face and everything. So this is $6.97. The in-person event is you get the free meet and greet on May 30th. And that's my birthday. Then May 31st, the next day, that's the first day of the workshop. Then later on that day, it's a black tie formal event where we're going to celebrate and honor some of the people, some of the black sheep from the community. Going to give them some awards, comedy set. We're going to have some business people. It'll be 6, 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneurs out there that you can network with, high-level executives. My executives will be out there. It's going to be a celebration of wealth and being private and having faith and standing on our rights. And then the next day, the final day, that Sunday, June 1st, will be the last day of the workshop. All right? So that's what's going to be going down in Philly, in-person event. Now listen. Yeah, all that for $16.97. I'm trying to make it, affordable and yeah. Now listen, for people that do think it's too much, hey, I don't know what situation you got going on, and that's cool. But I'm willing to bet if I told you your favorite car, your favorite house, or any of that, right? The Lambo that you want or something like that costs $6.97. I'm guaranteeing that you'll find a way to come up with the money. Like, you're gonna hustle, you're gonna borrow the money, you're gonna sell something, you're gonna do whatever you got to do to get it, right? So now tell me, is knowing your rights worth less than a car. A car that's gonna depreciate, lose value the moment that you drive it off the lot. Because you gotta understand, like, this training is not just information, it's actually transformation. A lot of people love to say, pretend like they know their rights, think that they get into the bag. But listen, what's the point of chasing money and acting like you know your rights, right? What's the point of doing all that if you don't truly know how to protect it? You're gonna hire a lawyer, then the lawyer is gonna drain your bank account even more. Then what you gonna do? You're being sued for $100,000. Then the lawyer is gonna take another 50, and then not even gonna help you. Not even gonna get you the remedy that you want. Like, you basically gonna drink. Then what you gonna do? What you gonna do? That's not protection. That's a trap. Real power means knowing how to move for yourself, controlling the things that you can control to a high degree, and the things that you can't control, you leave in God's hands, and that's okay because you have faith in God, and everything that you can't control and you control to a high degree, you do it based off God's authority. So why wouldn't you have faith in God and the things that you can't control? That's the real power. That's how you shut down court cases. That's how you stop government overreach. That's how you win against the government. And that's what people are doing that are just like you. That's what the black sheep are doing that's in my community. This shit ain't just about law. It's ownership. It's control of your life. Y'all got to understand that. And it's not just about your life. It's about your children. It's about your family. It's about your name and your legacy. Like, that's what this shit's about, man. And I created this community and this platform and everything because I personally saw firsthand how exclusive equity, the private side of law, helped not only me, but my child against CPS when she was first born. Like, now imagine you having the knowledge to help yourself first and foremost, and your children and your family, protecting what's you and yours. Think about that. And again, the best thing about this is you're going to be surrounded by other black sheep that understand you, understand what you're studying, understanding the things that you go through. I know you are the only one right now that you have to talk to. And maybe some of you are lucky and you have a friend that you can talk to about things, right? A very small percentage of it. But everybody else thinks you're fucking crazy. Nobody in my community don't think you crazy. They gonna think you in the right place. They gonna think you know what the hell you talking about. It's a special place. And in our community, it's people just like you that's ready to learn, grow, and rise together. Because when we know the law, when us black sheep know the law, we don't just protect ourselves, we protect each other. That's what my community is about. That's why it's the most beautiful thing. And the largest community of black sheep. All right? So you got to understand, that's why people are tapped into Matisse Academy. Now, what holds most people back is fear. And I get that it's fear, but fear is not real. It's just what happens when you don't understand something. And right now, you don't understand your rights. But once you gain the knowledge of your rights and how to express them, that's when that fear disappears. You start to move different. You speak differently. You live differently. And no, I'm not promising you perfection, but I am promising you greatness. And I am promising you a heaven on earth, a whole entire different life if you commit to learning exclusive equity, so that you're not just prepared, but we want to get to you to a place where you're unstoppable. So what are you going to do? Are you going to stay afraid and continue in the same cycle, hoping some shit's going to magically happen, some new shit's going to magically happen? Or are you going to step into the power that I'm trying to help you understand that God has already given you? Because if you are serious about that, if you're serious about joining a large community of black sheep, now's the time. I'm going to leave the cart open for 3 days or until we hit capacity, whichever comes first. All right? Because I know, like, this isn't just a course. This is access to knowledge that less than 1% of people understand. And it's a community. It's not just access to the information. It's a community. It's support. It's private remedy. It's real power. So ask yourself, are you going to claim your spot, or are you just essentially going to let somebody else take your spot? Because after 3 days, I'm closing the court. Or when we hit capacity, I'm closing the court. This offer will disappear. And I know some of y'all have been in my classes before. So I know y'all know I'm not playing when I say that. There's been people coming here trying to buy after 3 days, and it's been closed. It's gone. Once it's gone, it's gone. Now, I get it, though. I get it. A lot of y'all have been burned before by coaches, fake gurus, and, all type of stuff, right? I know that because I've been there. You spent money on the courses, programs, and all that. You walked away feeling like you got nothing real, nothing of substance. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. I know you've been there. But that's not what this is. This is actually about giving you the tools, giving you real results, real access to the knowledge that, again, 1%, less than 1% of people actually understand. So because of that, here's my promise to you. If you actually join us at the platinum level, right, and you go through the full 3-day challenge, you show up every day. You show up to the in-person event, and you actually start to apply what you are learning, and you still feel like it didn't deliver. Still feel like you didn't learn nothing. Still feel like nothing of substance. Then just let us know, and I'll refund you. No guilt trip, no games, no question, none of that, right? Because this ain't about just collecting sign-ups and shit like that. This is truly about building transformation, building a strong group of black sheep. And I only want people in this space who are ready to grow together, who's ready to lead together, who's ready to move differently, in this world. This is the time, this is the moment for you to actually make the shift. To say yes to something that actually protects your name, your legacy, your future, and your family's future. And the beauty about that is I'm going to make taking that step 100% risk-free. It's risk-free. So the only question is left, are you ready to invest in yourself? Without fear, though. And if you are, then let's make the move. Let's work. Let's get together. It's only going to be 10 spots, and let me check right now. Let me check with my team to see how many people have signed up. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we got 7 more spots left. Seven more spots left at the moment. One more thing. I always forget. So here's another testimony on suretyship. Now this person makes good money. And she did not qualify for food stamps. Your total gross monthly income is greater than the income limit. All right. Do not qualify for child care under one of our programs, right? So basically, she made too much money for food stamps. So she got denied. 4 days later, she actually got approved after expressing suretyship. They approved her for the full allotment of food stamps approved for the full allotment of child care and the cash, TANF cash. 4 days later, after expressing surety, that means she know who she is, she know her rights, and she knew how to express them. That's why the black sheep who know this, they start experiencing a heaven on earth. Their life begins to change because they stop living in fear and they start living in a power, start protecting and defending their freedoms. And this is another example of that. 4 days later, quick fast. Now listen, if $697 is too much for you, then we can do $397 for VIP. Now you don't get all the bonuses, but one bonus you can get for sure, I'll let you know a couple of them is, you get the 1 hour Q&A session right after class, so you still get that. And the other important thing is you can get 24-hour access to the replays, but you have to book a call with us so that we can tell you about the rest of the bonuses and we can explain everything how it's going to go. But you can get 24-hour access, or if you want to upgrade. We're dropping the link in the chat and everything though now. And then last but not least, we got general admission. Now, if you know that the most important thing is that you come and you start to learn about the foundation of your rights so that you can protect yourself. That's the most important thing. All right. So I don't know everybody's situation or none of that, but if you know that you want to be a part of this challenge, a part of this training, then you can get the general admission. And it's just $97. You take your notes and you're there. Now, you can also, I know it's Sunday, it's Mother Day. People got to move money around and all type of that. And that's typically why I leave the cart open for 3 days for stuff like that. But if you absolutely know you want to be a part of this experience, then secure your spot with general admission, $97. And if you want to upgrade, before we get started, then you can do that. But outside of that, you're risking not being able to join us in this experience. So, no, that's 10 people total. Not just 10 people for each level. That's 10 people total. I don't care. I wouldn't care if it's 7 general admission and 3 platinum. That's only 10 people, period. And it's only 6 more spots. And we're dropping a link in the chat. All right, so I'm gonna answer a few questions while people getting signed up. Y'all can raise your hand. Kevin John, what's good with you? Kevin John, what's good?
Peace and equity. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I got you on speaker, right? And all kinds of fun. So, looking forward to seeing you, and I'm a little nervous about it.
Don't be nervous.
Yeah. I signed up for the platinum, and I'm heading down there whenever. I might even stay at the hotel, but I'm looking forward to meeting you. So that I'm excited about it. It's a year jubilee. I'm in the middle of a court case. 3 of them actually. I just got information back from the Supreme Court, but I have a question about suretyship. If I have all my heirs' death certificates right into my trust, and I go to the tax or credit bank, whatever office, and serve them with a letter of verification of debt, a letter of notice and subrogation for all the heirs that I have in the trust, I can do that, right?
I mean,
like 16 great grandparents and all from this little Lancaster, Pennsylvania area. I mean, I was adopted, so I have more.
Yeah, in theory, if you explain it right, but for me to be like, yes, and
it would
I have some example of that. No.
Okay. So I understand. So if I get responses from the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania that telling me what I need to do what they tell me to, right?
I mean,
For the most part, to be seen, because I haven't
they
been seen.
tell you what to do, but I doubt that.
They got a list. I mean, they just sent me a list from the Cole Warranto that I sent a list. But I'm still on the defense for an appeal. So anyway, I just wanted to say we're looking forward to meeting you. I'm excited about everything I learned. Anybody that is in doubt, this is definitely the place where we need to be, all of us. And I just praise God for you and everyone that really takes it seriously, because unless you do, you're not gonna have your rights, right? Unless you can express them. Substance over form.
Exactly. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you. All right, that's all I had to say.
Peace. So let me explain something to y'all. And you ain't got to answer this to me, right? But how many of y'all feel like you are a slave? How many of y'all feel, even a debt slave, right? Any type of slave. How many of y'all feel like a slave? How many of y'all feel like oppressed? If you don't feel like a slave, you might feel oppressed. Maybe slave is a little harsh, exaggerating, right? All right. But how many of y'all feel oppressed? And if you feel oppressed or feel like a slave, let me ask you this. Do you know about credit? Do you know about public and private credit? Do you know your rights? If the answer to those things are no, that's a direct correlation to you feeling oppressed, slave. That's the way the framers set up this Constitution. That if you don't know your rights, and you don't know, if you don't know your rights and you don't know about credit, then you're supposed to feel like a slave. You're supposed to feel oppressed by those who actually do know their rights. That's exactly how the system is set up by default. The only thing holding you back from living an entirely different life, from living a heaven on earth, is simply understanding credit, understanding your rights. If you understand those two things, there's no limit to the things that you can manifest and create. At least in this physical world, I would say. That's the only difference. That's the only thing holding you back from living a different life. Amethyst was good. Can you hear me? Amethyst was good. What up?
Can you hear me?
Barely.
Sorry, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, we can barely hear you.
Okay, I don't know what's going on with my...
There we go. There we go.
Okay, I'm gonna go real quick. I enjoy your classes. The Zoom meets, I enjoy them. I've learned a lot. However, people's circumstances are different. My bills are like $2,800. My paycheck is $2,400. So I'm having to take odd jobs, this, that, and third, whatever. Okay, that's life. What I wanted to know is, what did you do first in your status correction? Like when you have children and you're married, I heard the process is a little different because I can't afford to pay for a class. Like my bills have exhausted everything. I don't have to. Okay. And I wanted to know, like, what steps did you take to do a status correction when you have children and you're married. My last question is, in the meantime, while we're, the bills don't stop, they don't take your house, they don't care, you don't pay, they'll take stuff from you. So in the meantime, are there any legal or lawful remedies for discharge of bills as a public citizen?
I mean, that's essentially you hiring a lawyer, or you getting with some consumer law practitioners and, getting with them as far as, being a public citizen and getting cases thrown out, or, like remedies for discharging debt and stuff. I don't get into any of that, but, then to answer your first question, you first got to understand what a name is about. How's it connected to a state, a status, and the process is not any different. I'm not sure who told you that, but the process is not any different. But essentially, you got to petition the courts in your region, wherever you live at.
So basically, in order to get anybody to get any types of remedies, you have to get that status corrected. Or anybody paying attention, or
as far as how I do things, yeah. Unless you just like a lot of times, like people see the testimonials that I post that see some testimonials that I've worked with people directly, and no, they don't have they don't technically have a document from the courts that says their status is corrected, right? But they work with me, so like I'm skillful enough to be able to express that the proper way in court, especially when we ain't got time for that because you're in the middle of a court case. So it's not to say that's absolutely necessary, but it is if you don't, it starts up here before anything else. So yeah, you can get away if you know how to express it and it's up here. You don't have to put it on paper right away. But if it's not up here, then that's why we got the paperwork to help you out.
It's pretty scary, doing this by myself, and I don't have any, but I'm pushing forward. That's all I can do.
I'll say definitely take the time to study my page from the bottom to the top. Plenty of people have beat court cases doing it and been able to help themselves.
Okay. I appreciate you.
Likewise, I appreciate you tapping in with me. All right. Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. All right, so we got 3 more spots left. So 3 more spots, or the cart will close in 3 days, whichever happens first. I'm gonna answer one more question, and then we up out of here. Mario Cabrera, what's good with you?
Hello.
Hey, what's good?
Damn, bro. I just want to say thank you from one big standpoint. I'm good. I'm chilling. I'm home. And I say that not lightly because you was like, you got to be careful with what y'all saying in and out of court. Fuck around, end up in a cycle. And on April 18, bro, I ended up in a cycle. April 17, I ended up in a psych ward. But I was out in less than 12 hours because I did certain things. But the number one thing I did in the psych evaluation, the psych lady was telling me like, oh, you sound crazy. You sound like you're talking in circles. And I said, look, if you just admit you're holding legal title and I'm beneficiary title holder, I'm not going to sign nothing unless I could pull out my little pen so I could put my thumbprint on everything. And y'all could allow me to make sure that I do not waive any of my rights. And, bro, they locked me up. But in less than 12 hours, I kept pleading my case on that. And they let me out. And the first thing I did was notice of subrogation because what happened was I tried to correct the record. a lot of people just ask right now, like, yo, could I go there as a 14th Amendment citizen? And like, I want to say that no, you can't. Like, I hit them not with like I know my rights. First, the judge didn't let me into the courtroom because I sent things 2 weeks in advance. The cops tried to arrest me because I tried to record the fact that she wasn't letting me in. And I got hit with disorderly conduct and arrested. And then when I started not saying, oh, I know my rights, I started saying, yo, I know my right to contract. So I started to line everything up with contracts. Now, the thing is, I'm not a private, but I own businesses. So I was trying to detach the fact that they didn't even have my ID. So what they did was they kept fucking up, and then they searched me for my ID. You told us not to carry ID on us, always in your bag. So then they searched my bag and grabbed only one document, which was an ID. Now I told them, yo, I got a bunch of other paperwork. They were like, we don't care. This is all we need. And I was like, yo, but I got paperwork rescinding that. I went to the DMV. They signed it. They're like, we don't care. They took it. They scanned it. And bro, I got thrown in an EMT, thrown into the hospital. But along the way, everyone I spoke to, I said the same principles about equity. So I'm just hoping now that when I get to the 19, I send my notice, I send my opportunity to cure, and my default notice. So I'm hoping that now that I get my status correction, I piece it all together and then I do it properly. But that long-winded story is just, there's a lot of information I learned. But one of the things was I was trying to figure it out under this guise of the 14th Amendment citizen. And I didn't speak lightly. I wasn't belligerent or nothing like that. In fact, they kept fucking up and they got the NYPD involved. Like, everybody kept realizing how worse they were making their own situation. That the only remedy they had was to go, and I got it on video, yo, let's call the ambulance. Like, yo, we fucked up. We got to take them in. Almost like if someone really knows their shit, but they don't have their status corrected, in their system by default, it was, yo, call the bus, let's take him in. So I can assume I wasn't the first one, nor will I be the last one. I guess psych ward, you know. But the fact that you told me in a random talk like these workshops, like you gotta be careful because fuck around they'll throw you in. But if you know what to stand on, you'll be out. Like, it was scary, not in front. It was scary, but I know the information at heart in that space, and I was out. And if I look, my girl works in the hospital. She looked at the report. She was like, yo, this all looks. I know how things have to process. Like, you need a certificate, you need a registration.
You got priors on anything, bro?
Nah, but the funny thing is, before this, with child support, I found them hiding support papers and custody. So I went back to get my records, and they were trying to hide certain cases. So I learned how to get my disposition. And my situation now was to attack everybody, because you showed that post about 19 cases dismissed. That's where I'm headed.
So here's the thing, though, bro. You got to stick. If it was me, I would stick with trust law, because I can, by the way you talk, I can tell you studying heavily. But I can also tell the flaw in why you got and why you got met with the psych ward, and it's because you commingling. You can't commingle it. You can't do administrative process with exclusive equity. That's your issue, and that's why that happened to you.
Oh, damn.
You can't commingle. The moment you commingle, that's the type of shit that happens. It's not just about being careful in what you're saying. It's knowing, it's understanding what you are saying, understanding the jurisdiction. Like, if you start commingling, that shows that it comes off like you're incompetent, because that's two different law forms, and that's public and private. So it's two things that you got to remember. You can't mix the public and private, which means you can't mix administrative processes with anything exclusive equity or like trust law. You can't do that. And then not only that, even in the private, you can't do two separate different remedies, because if you do, then you default to a general remedy, and general is public, and that's not where you want to be. So those are two lessons also that will keep you from getting met with a psych ward, because that should truthfully never happen. But the fact that you was able to get yourself up out of there and quickly, that's just a testament to, you studying and, you grinding it out. So definitely, shit, hats off to you for that. Just continue to grind and just remember that.
Appreciate that. Yeah, much love to that, bro, and everything you've been doing for us, man.
Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate it. All right, y'all. That is a wrap. Let me see. I'll let y'all know the update. So, all right, there's 2 more left, or we'll be closing the cart in 3 days. All right, I appreciate y'all tapping in with us today. It was a good class, good questions, y'all.